Well, good night.
Good night, Doctor.
Who's out there?
Nobody you need worry about, Doctor.
Oh, it's Andy.
Oh.
That's right. Oh, good evening, Miss Van Gordon.
Good evening, Lieutenant.
Somebody sick here?
My maid was bitten by a bat.
Oh? A rabid bat?
Well, I'll know for sure when I get to my lab. I caught the bat.
It happened indoors?
In my bedroom, yes.
How'd it get in?
Well, there are many ways a bat could get in a house.
You ought to know. I spotted this hole in the window the minute I got here.
Why?
That's where the two-legged bat got your door open.
Miss Van Gorder told me that she phoned headquarters at Zenith.
Yes, I phoned twice. The second time was after the prowler got in the house.
Weren't you at headquarters, Andy?
No, but they contacted me.
An officer came and searched the house from top to bottom, but they couldn't find the bat.
You better have this window fixed tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I certainly shall.
Yes, and I'd better be going. I'm due in surgery at 8 o'clock in the morning. Good night.
Good night, Doctor.
There'll be a man patrolling the grounds all night, Miss Van
Oh,
Gorder.
thank you.
And nobody inside, Andy?
Why should there be?
Well, how do you know but what the bat is hiding somewhere in the house?
I'm quite sure he isn't in the house, Doctor. Not now. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, Andy.
Hello, Mark. Well, congratulations. Real estate business must be picking up. New office, new furniture.
New deal. How do you like it?
It looks expensive. Are you squandering your inheritance?
Oh, I haven't got it yet.
Well, the paper says John Fleming left his entire fortune to you.
Funny thing about that entire fortune is that we can't find it.
No kidding.
Oh, all Uncle John had in his bank account was a couple of $100. And his safe deposit box was empty.
If we don't find that missing million, mine will be empty, too.
How come?
Well, all my savings were invested in Zenith Bank stock. The examiners won't certify the bank is solvent until those stolen securities are found. So the stockholders have voted an assessment that'll wipe some of us out. It's a since those securities have been converted into cash. And if I can't find that cash, I'm sunk.
Well, where are you going to look for it, Andy?
Here in Zenith. Your uncle wouldn't take $1 million on a hunting trip, would he?
You suspect Uncle John? Why, Andy, he founded the Zenith Bank. That'd be like robbing the family tomb.
You think he wouldn't?
Well, besides, Vic Bailey's fingerprints are all over the vault. Now, they didn't find any of Uncle John's fingerprints.
Because he wiped him off.
Can the defense prove that?
They'll try to. Judy Hollander, Bailey's secretary, is a defense witness. And they believe her testimony will have a powerful effect on the jury.
Oh, well, she has a powerful effect on me. Judy's a doll.
Here's the book you mentioned, Judy.
It's your newest one.
Yes, it's just been published. You can have that copy if you wish.
Oh, it's a first edition and you've signed it.
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
May I serve tea now, Miss Van Gorder?
Yes, please do, Warner.
Thank you.
Well, I see you've engaged new servants.
Yes, of course.
Well, how did you persuade them to live in this house?
Well, Jane Patterson, my new housekeeper, knows this house better than you do, Doctor.
Oh?
She worked for John Fleming. And Warner was my chauffeur.
Chauffeur turned butler?
Yes, it's incredible. He can play any part at a moment's notice. Did you get a plumber, Warner?
No, we can't get a plumber for 3 days, madam.
What about that leaking pipe? The basement will be flooded in 3 days.
The pipe is no longer leaking.
You mean it's dried up of its own accord?
No, not quite. I packed the elbow where the water was coming out.
Packed the elbow? Oh, where did you learn how to do that?
Well, into each life, a little rain must fall, and a careful man learns to keep himself dry. Now, is there anything else that you require, Miss Van Gorder?
No, not at the moment, Warner.
Thank you, madam.
Now, there's a character.
How long did you say that he worked for you as chauffeur?
About 3 months.
Well, I hope he doesn't have a police record. My dear Dale, It may interest you to know that the last night of his life, John Fleming told me that he loved your husband like a son. If Fleming were alive today, he would be fighting to prove Vic's innocence.
Could Mr. Fleming prove his own innocence?
Miss Van Gorder, can there be any doubt about it?
There will be when Miss Hollander testifies at Vic's trial.
Oh? You know something that we haven't heard yet, Judy?
Something I saw with my own eyes. She's not permitted to say what it was.
My dear girl, I wouldn't think of asking her. But let's assume for a moment that Fleming did steal the $1 million. Now, what would he do about it? Where is it?
Hidden someplace where he could lay his hands on it without getting caught in the act. Now, if I was writing this, instead of living in the middle of it, I'd hide it right here in this spooky old house.
Under a loose floorboard or up a chimney?
If Mr. Fleming had the nerve to steal $1 million, he'd make his plans well in advance. I'd say he'd prepare a place to hide it. Possibly when this house was being built. Now, I rented this place from Mark Fleming, his nephew. I wonder if he'd have the floor plans.
I'll ask him.
Yes. Lizzie, will you bring Mrs. Bailey the phone? Oh, you ask him now. His number is Summit 7537.
Oh, thank you, Lizzie. Summit
7537.
Not bad, eh, Andy? That means new business. Now, you see, somebody wants to buy a house. Mark Fleming speaking.
Oh, hello, Dale.
Well, hang on a minute, honey, while I see if I have him. It's Dale Bailey, all excited. Miss Van Gorder wants to know if I have the floor plans of the Oaks. Now, what would she want with the floor plans?
Well, she suggested to me that your uncle might have hidden the bank loot there. Are the plans here?
Somewhere in the house itself. Wait a minute, there is a place where Uncle Johnny might have kept those blueprints.
What place?
Well, I heard him talk about it a good many years ago. I can't be sure of the exact location. Anyway, I don't think the old boy had the guts to steal $1 million. But if I find those plans, I'll let you know, Andy. Hello, Dale. Look, honey, I haven't seen those plans since I was a kid, but I'll come over tonight and maybe we can find them.
Thank you, Mark. We'll expect you. He seems to think they're here in the house somewhere. He's coming over tonight.
Well, that's good. Dale and Judy are my house guests for the weekend. Would you like to have dinner with us tonight?
Oh, no, thank you. I couldn't. I still have a few calls to make. You know, if Judy's testimony is going to clear Vic Bailey and implicate John Fleming, others may get the idea that there's buried treasure in this house. Don't even mention your testimony until you're actually on the stand.
Oh, I won't.
That's a smart girl, Judy, and a very lovely girl. Well, good afternoon, ladies.
Goodbye,
Doctor.
Dr. Will.
Come on, girls, let's go. I should be putting them down on paper. Weren't you your husband's secretary, Dale?
Yes, I was.
Do you take shorthand?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dear, if you'd like to have your mind occupied, I want you to work with me while I write the story of this fantastic criminal, the Bat. Thank you. It's really nice. A good dinner, Lizzie. As usual.
Wonderful. Oh, what a lovely piece of silver. It's an original, isn't it?
Yes, they still use them in England for buffet breakfasts. Some hot water in the bottom. Keeps your kippers hot, your sausages, and your scrambled eggs.
Interesting.
It's very useful.
Really nice.
Clock hasn't struck the hour in the last 10 years, if I'm to believe what Mark Fleming told me.
Why is it angled away from the wall like that?
I don't know. Somebody must have moved it. Lizzie, very likely when she was dusting.
Wait a minute. Did you know there's a door in this paneling?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
My gracious, so there is.
maybe it opens to a secret passage.
Well, certainly to a secret something. Who knows, girls? We'll be about to stumble on that missing million. Oh, this is... Panel is a panel. There must be some gimmick to it. There always is. Yes, it moves. It moves. It moves. Oh.
Calling car 11. Calling car 11. Proceed to the Oaks in Zenith Township immediately. A homicide has been reported.
Okay. Proceeding to the Oaks. Notify the county coroner, Dr. Wells. Tell him to come to the Oaks at once. Horrible.
As if his throat has been torn by some creature with fangs or claws.
That's his sign. We found it on the others he killed. I'd hoped those reports that he was up to his old tricks again were pure imagination, but apparently they're based on fact. He's come back. Back to the scene of his kills. Yes, that's who I mean. That's who did this. The bat. Who found Mark?
We all did. And it's Dale and Judy and I. Lizzie was in the dining room. This is my new housekeeper, Jane Patterson. You know, she worked for John Fleming.
I know her. Where were you, Mrs. Patterson?
In the kitchen, cleaning up. I cooked the dinner tonight.
Did you know that the secret closet was here?
No. It was behind the grandfather's clock.
Well, it was I who found it, really. Noticed the clock had been moved and the door wasn't quite closed.
I'll get it.
Who is it? Mark Fleming.
As coroner, you saw the same wounds on the others. How long's he been dead?
Oh, I'd say about a half an hour. Do you believe it was the bat?
That's a bat's trademark.
Perhaps he's still in the house.
That's possible.
Why should he be?
Because he's looking for something, and like you, he believes it's here. And he's a persistent killer. I would advise you to get out of this house as quickly as possible, notwithstanding our expert police protection. Have you called the morgue?
They're on their way here.
Oh, good. I want to examine the body before they get here. May we take it into another room?
Yes, to the sunroom in the back.
Thank you. Give me a hand.
Excuse me. Oh, Warner, where have you been?
Well, madam, it was...